flow of the draft a little bit more. There's the must bans that you would want to first pick. Samsung just gets rid of those right away. Kalista and Sejuani.
Because now we see this here for G2, as we just talked about. Like, we see the art sensor supports getting removed. So they are not just looking to protect Sven in the late game and do nothing else. At least what they're telling us with the first 2 bans here. AD carry-wise, Xayah is available with the Rakan being banned away. Tristana is here as well for G2 to look at.
Yeah, Xayah has been so often first picked when there are Kalista bans, and especially a lot of peeling support bans, just because it is very difficult to get on top of the Xayah as well as just the early laning strength. So there is a chance here that G2 go for some playmaking down in the bottom lane.
Very true. Like, Alistar is a huge pick for Myth. The MVP performance on it in the EU LCS playoffs. It is available. You can go for it early if you want for G2 in the next, pick phase here, and try and camp Ruler and Core JJ. They are a strong dual lane on Samsung's side, but they have definitely been shut down in the past by teams playing very aggressive towards the bottom lane. Especially when there's a Varus that you can flash on as an Alistar.
By far the most picked champion for Ruler during the regular season, playing it even before, long before the Ardent Sensor meta took shape.
Oh!
And we've switched things up immediately because Gragas was the second best jungler, so to speak, with Sejuani ban. The Ivern, that's a throwback there for Trick.
I love the fact that Ivern is being used. I really felt like he was like low-key good coming into this because he brings Ardent Sensor. So when you run a support without Ardent Sensor, Ivern will bring that. We get that Alistar we just talked about. There's a Varus with no mobility on the side of Samsung.
However, they have still found an Ardent Sensor in their game. You can't ban all of them right there. Tarek, with the Ardent Sensor, can apply it to the entire team if he has the right circumstances reached, and can be very good against champions that have to all-in engage like Tarek, as long as the burst isn't incredibly upfront. But to your point, Officio, the Xayah Alistar can be extremely aggressive, and it doesn't have the late game penalty of no Ardent Sensor since they picked the Ivern. So I really love that trio of picks.
And Tarek, of course, is a standard answer from a lot of supports, especially over in the LCK, where looking towards the late game team fights, when Alistar is like jumping your back line, you pop down that Tarek ulti, your carries will not die. A Varus with Rage Blade and Ardent Sensor just free hitting. But G2's comp at the moment with Ivern are not necessarily looking to dive the enemy backline in team fights. It's actually looking to also just deal with the big tanks in the front. Because Ivern is obviously not going to offer anything when it comes to killing people.
You almost have 2 choices in that. You can say, oh, as G2, our first initiation didn't work, pull back, do it again.
That smells like a corgi pick.
Decide what they want to do. Absolutely could. We see Cassidin, LeBlanc, Syndra, Rise. Corki does seem like it could very much so be on the list. They may just leave it out for the last. Ruler could be locking in that Cho'Gath, as Samsung Galaxy, as we heard, loves to go late.
Yeah, and this is also a pick right there, a power pick in the top lane. And I think more importantly, gives them the counter pick in the mid lane. You already have those 4 mid lane bans. What do you think the blind pick is here for Perks?
Give me Trundle or Gnar for expecting the top lane against that Cho'Gath if he wants actually like a counter pick for himself. Perks wants to play it safe. The Cassidin ban was surprising when they now didn't pick the mid laner blind, because obviously G2 would never blind pick Cassidin. It seemed like Samsung were expecting a Cho'Gath ban from G2. When that didn't happen, they kind of adapted on the fly.
Yeah, I think a lot of these last picks don't have huge counter pick value right here. The Cho'Gath and the Maokai with the current bans, not necessarily huge counter pick value, and the Shen can have a better late game laning phase against the Cho'Gath if they choose that.
Yeah, and obviously Shen does offer even more potential bot lane dive. You have the Alistar engage with the Shen ulti on him. I sometimes feel teams tunnel too hard and then just playing bot side when they go for Shen over Maokai, because Maokai is the superior late game tank. And while it is a draft from G2 that's focused around killing Ruler in the bot lane, I still think the Maokai for late game would have been more than fine for G2, because this game will most likely go towards late game.
Absolutely. Hopefully Crown could now be a carry on that Talia. More so setting up the plays maybe for Cuvée to get in there, be that tank. They can cut people off with ambition. G2 looks like they could be all around these fights, really picking and choosing how they sort themselves out to get into it. 2 sweet teams we see coming in for both, and both with that Ardent Sensor, as we were wondering.
Yeah, it's very interesting as 2 teams that do like to play it a little bit more slowly. Yet last game with RNG in 1907 and Fenerbahce was that slow drawn-out one. Here, I see more initiation opportunities. You have the Shen who can always flank, you have the Alistair who can fly in, and then from Samsung's side, you have the global presence of the Talia to make plays in a side lane with a utility AD carry in Varus, which, by the way, 20 picks in Summer Split plus playoffs and regionals for Ruler is the most picks on one champion globally for any player in Summer Split plus. So he is very comfortable and familiar with that Varus.
There you go. You got a way to measure that guy. So mystery gifting has been reset. That bonus is reset. Baron steals and pentakills will double the chance for a legendary skin or esports skin in the client. The bonus stacks up to 4 times max. I think we'll get some good Baron steals throughout groups. We're gonna see hashtag G2 and hashtag SSG when we're about to be onto the Rift and see who gets the next victory of group stage.
And it feels like we're right back towards MSI here for G2 already with that Iron pick coming in. Trick not played this champion during the Summer Split at all. Also, it's same with Shen for Expect actually up in the top lane. And obviously, during this boot camp here at G2 Esports, figuring out that there are other ways to get Ardent Sensor on the map. It doesn't have to just be support, and that's why Iron is right back in the meta.
And
go ahead.
We've seen the coin Targon lanes. Let me tell you, double relic shield lanes. Have you seen that one? They're trying to funnel gold as much as possible.
The bling lane.
Onto Core JJ.
Ooh!
Okay, I like that.
Flashy plays.
Great flash with the mid laner.
Yeah, that could. Well, you'd think it would trigger early ganks, but not necessarily from the Ivern. It would then have to be Mithy roaming. I'm interested, actually, why Core JJ didn't just go coin on Taric, because you will generate so much more gold. That could speak to not wanting to get pushed in early by the Alistair kill threat, because you do have a very real trade-off of combat stats early on when you were going coin versus when you're going a relic shield. The health could end up coming in pretty handy.
I also want to see if Ruler is just rushing the Rage Blade. It's a build we see a lot from Varus at the moment because it's a super strong spike for him on just one item, and then when Core JJ gets his Ardent Sensor, you have these two items that just work perfectly together. You know, attack speed that stacks up the Rage Blade faster, and you just deal so much damage at that point. So they're trying to actually really get as much gold as possible for both members, because obviously their build path towards Rage Blade kind of sucks when you gotta build AP as well on the way as an AD carry. It doesn't feel great, but once you get the full item, it's strong.
Escalate that goal just a little bit with the early game purchases. We'll see if Samsung can get to that curve nice and quick.
Yeah, I do have to credit Samsung's early warding there, seeing Trick on the blue buff. There is a lot of variance in what Ivern can do early, and he's a very real threat for invading and stealing the enemy red if Ambition isn't going to rush towards it. So they spotted him. Seeing that he smote his own blue meant he wasn't going to invade the red. That actually lets you predict the entirety of the Ivern path. It means he's going to do a slow clear right here, so he's going to keep on his own side until he's level 4.
And I was looking at Ambition and seeing if maybe he wants to invade the no-flash Ivan early, because Talia will get the push on Corki, as we can see here on your minimap with Crown basically, you know, pushing perks down to his tower. But Ambition just taking his own slow clear. Ivan, after we nerfed him some time ago, like gets really low in the jungle on that first clear, so if he has no flash, like it's a Gragas fighting with a red buff, and that's a kill for Samsung. But Ambition are not going in there just yet.
Also, this Ivern for Trick, like riding a bike, actually haven't seen it as of much lately. Gragas, Sejuani, Jarvan, Zac, and the not-so-often Maokai was his champion pool as of late, but here bringing back, as we said, that Ardent Sensor for the team. What else are teams going to show at Worlds? G2 try to put a stamp on this one. They go for the melee jungler and Ardent, or I'm sorry, melee support and Ardent jungler.
Yeah, and just reminding everyone that this is the exact same starting lineup that made it all the way to World Finals last year, but wasn't necessarily expected to.
Right.
They did win their group, they won all of their bracket stage games, but many people were expecting the Tigers to make it out, and a lot of people thought TSM would actually win the group that Samsung was in as early on in this tournament as that. So definitely trying to have that type of Worlds performance once again where they can make it all the way to the final.
And one of the big reasons they made the final in 2016, one of the big reasons they're here again in 2017 is because of Ambition in the jungle. Like, he did step away from the team. They were playing with Haru as well, and it just wasn't the same. They need his leadership, but he's the kind of jungler who doesn't take any risks. He plays very slow early on, and that's why he did not invade this Ivern. Top lane gank right now.
Waiting, nice rupture, get that long range for Trick so he can get the damage in, and it looks like Expect's gonna get the tank early, but the damage won't be there. Root Caller just a little closer, and he stays alive. Chugs the potion early, shield comes up. They stay alive, but that was botched.
That was a little bit overzealous by Expect, flashing to get the sword pass through when he'd already taunted early. They had taken Cuvée out of the lane, they had burned his flash, but they thought they could get the kill. In doing so, they give up any advantage they would have gained from the game.
He forgot that Iron barely deals any damage right there, and actually was on the Shen to try and kill the Cho'Gath in the end. Cuvée stays alive, TP's right back into that lane, and he is fine now, trading flashes up in that top lane. Trick's own flash is almost ready now, so he did not get punished for it.
Right.
As I was saying just before here, Ambition do not take any risks early on. It's slow jungling, meaning Samsung plays a lot slower with him, and they can get to late game more often without being too far behind.
Yeah, they made
He's back, baby.
Round 2. They got the taunt.
The flash is up. Where is it? Oh, there's that long range damage. Root Caller to come in. This one's gonna be it. He's gonna slalom through the minions, but not far enough. First blood going to Shen, going to Expect.
Fischio, Ivern players everywhere. You do a little bit of damage.
You definitely do a little bit.
It's better than having no one else there. And
It's sugar-coated.
Specifically, being able to just shield the melee champion when you have a flashless opponent is so critical. And just smacking them with that auto attack.
It's the worst way to die to a gank, is this Candyman just standing there like slowly hitting you and grinding you down.
Terrifying.
In the end, if you give him enough time, yeah, he will definitely deal a bit of damage. And bit.
Needed toward, but the red buff is actually one of the critical things right here, because the brush plus auto attack stacking up with red buff do a reasonable amount of damage that can easily kill the Cho'Gath right there, and that return is what they need. It's still yet to see Ambition make his entrance into a lane.
And obviously Cuvée right there was in a very tough spot because the lane was pushing towards Expect when the gank happened. So when he returned to that lane, he was kind of overextended from the get-go. His own jungler wasn't there to assist him, and that's why Trick could return to that top lane. It does mean now, Expect with that first blood, he will get level 6 very soon. We're looking straight towards bottom lane, then Alistar engage, offensive summoner from Mithy, pop in a Shen ulti, and that should be a kill for G2, but they gotta execute the play first.
Trick with the Moby boots, zoomies around the map as he starts cleaning up, and here he is going to get the counter gank on what could happen bot lane. Seems to slowly be fizzling out. And a good shove here for Perkz in the mid lane. Crown getting some good damage on as they trade back and forth.
I think a good job by Perkz to clear that control ward in his own red buff. That's a pesky ward that often stays alive for the majority of a game, but disciplined to check that ward, knowing he had been counter jungled.
Got that Shen level 6 now.
And pressure on the bot side here. Trick puts down a ward. An Infernal Drake would be nice to get to start things off in this game, with Cuvé's TP being down as well.
Exactly. It's very hard for Samsung to respond. We will obviously have Crown with his ulti available to go down to the bottom side. G2 might wait for the package here before they actually really execute the play, but you can see how Samsung, they know, like, they're reading the exact same game plan that G2 are trying to create here, because Ruler and CoreJJ will just play passive on bottom side and say, if you want to kill us, you got to tower dive us. And then there might be a Taliyah behind you, there might be a Gragas there. So they're really going to make sure G2 do not get an easy opening. And that's one of the main strengths of Samsung as a team. They truly understand how to play defensive early.
Yeah, and when you're playing so defensive, you also need to find efficient ways to play offense, because you can't just play defense all the time and expect to win. And when looking at Samsung's tools they have this game, it's the Taliyah Gragas roam squad into a side lane, whether that's bottom lane or top lane. Based on the current state of the game, with the Shen ult up, the bottom lane isn't necessarily the way you play. So if we see Samsung make a play, it would have to be around top side, which is why I love Trick getting rid of that red buff and taking some of the control back in the jungle.
And G2 are right now trying to force Samsung's bot lane to overextend. They've let that wave push towards them. So now you can see that we actually have Samsung past the river with Ruler and CoreJJ. The Varus have not gone back to base yet either. He's very, very weak at this point. But G2 needs to engage to actually get the fight, and now Samsung just backs away instantly.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Crown was moving down that aggressively into the jungle. I think he was just hoping that G2 would go aggressive and he could maybe turn something around, because at the time Cuvé's teleport was down, and it would have just been Expect who can match that and give them a numbers advantage.
Looks like Cuvée just munched on a minion in the top side as he starts to get himself stacked up. Expect goes back into the minion wave and try and sort this out, so he's got an even bigger wave to deal with the turret. That could be the teleport down. or at least to stand united, but now both are up, so it's going to be a big fight if it happens. Next Drake is also Infernal, as we said before, so that is still something that both teams want.
Most likely have to come after someone actually gets a kill first.
Yeah.
It's rare you're allowed to just walk in and kill that Infernal on your own. Perkz is actually looking towards topside with the package here. They've not been able to do anything against Ruler and Core JJ, and now Ruler went back, got 2 of the components here for his Rage Blade, even upgraded the Relic Shield, so eventually he will get a bit of a shield as well for himself.
And double Targon's bracing that bottom lane.
Nice.
Whoa.
Good post by Crown.
Small moves. Crown taking complete control of the lane. Could flash forward for another Q. Holds it. Knows he just gets the lane dominance, and now Ambition can hang around in the jungle, and Samsung starts to move the entire play up.
Yeah, and this could allow them to just go straight on the Infernal Drake or get more control. Ambition has the control ward and his Cinder Call completed. He's actually way stronger than Trick right now, who's trying to rush towards the Ardent Sensor. Not to mention they forced Perkz back, so this is that type of efficient offense that we talked about from Samsung. They didn't have to do much, but the Infernal Drake gives them a large advantage.
And it wasn't a kill, but instead just chunked the mid laner so he can't join. Effectively doing the same thing for you here if you are Samsung, giving you that objective here. But Expector's still sitting there on the Shen. He's level 8 now. He's had that ulti for 2 levels, and he's just kind of like, guys, we picked this champion for one specific reason, which is to be able to play aggressive on the other side of the map. But we're not doing it.
I think you also pick Shen for 2 reasons. He's one of the best counter-engaged champions as well if someone tries to go aggressive, but specifically against Samsung, that's not necessarily the use case for the Shen ultimate, so they would have to create something happen, but I don't think Samsung has actually given them many opportunities. The control wards that they have set up in the river themselves, there's been very few opportunities to actually get a numbers advantage down there while they're pushed up in a meaningful way.
And then obviously if you're RG2, you can swap it towards the mid lane. Try and have Perkz play aggressive with his Valk and a Shen ulti to force Crown out of the laning phase and then use that squad to move down. Like you see Perkz right now, he's trying to do exactly that. And he's like, okay, we're not diving bot lane, so I now need to win this mid lane in order for G2 to start really getting ahead. Because right now they're down 200 gold and Samsung, they're just scaling. They're like, yep, this is great, man.
Lots of respect being shown by both teams, specifically even the mid laners are only going aggressive when their jungler is nearby. Whether or not he's actually been spotted by a warden or not, the enemy mid laner is just respecting it. He says, if you're playing aggressive, you probably have a jungle, and there's actually not been much bluffing that goes on either.
Mithy just out of range with his headbutt, so he just ends up smacking the ground. Not getting any engage on Ruler.
There's a hover on Trick. Trick is just on his way down, as well as Ambition just off on the sides. Cosmic Radiance is going to stave off some of the damage. Ruler's being chased though, and here they are after Ruler. Daisy comes out. Core JJ just on the backside. His last bit of mana is a Dazzle, and with the Bastion placed correctly, they get a nice X on that stun. Ambition's here to see what happens. Looks like this one's just going to fizzle out. He's got to be careful.
But they're not actually checking the brush, so they don't know he's there.
Control warded. They can bring Talia down as well.
Crown has all the time in the world. He's going to go for the squishiest. If he can get the Sven and knock him back, that's the goal. Daisy stopping him. A great knockoff. And they get out unscathed, basically, on both sides. Can't say the same for the Summoners on the side of Samsung Galaxy and their Sven's flash.
Yeah, you have to remember, the Xayah cannot jump over the wall with the ulti. She just kind of jumps up in the air and right back down. So Sven flashing away. Smart play by Crown to just get something. They weren't actually chasing for that kill. They just wanted Sven to use his flash.
Oh, Sven, no flash. They get the ultimate as well.
Stunned under. Ruler goes a little aggressive. Ambition's here to possibly save the day. The brush is there for Sven to keep firing from as he uses it for a bit of protection in and out. And G2 is out.
That's exactly the type of turnaround they needed after they used the Shen ultimate to not generate a kill, because that lane was starting to get a little bit out of hand, and Ruler was getting very close to completing the Ginsu's Rage Blade. So with that 27 or so CS advantage that Ruler had, getting the kill onto Sven will help him keep pace.
Yeah, because going back to the play G2 tried to make, it was actually really bad coordination for them as a team. The engage happened in the bottom lane. Ivan was on the way down, but Expect was not in a position to use his ulti. He had to run away from the Cho'Gath first, just like we ran away from the potential fight in the replay. And that simply meant that the Shen ult came down very late, and by then, Samsung had already kind of stepped away and gotten out of the fight, and it could actually have gone really wrong for G2 with that Gragas hiding in the brush. But in the end, Ruler makes a mistake on his own. There's a kill for G2, and they get something at least.
Also, Cuvate now with that TP up. Stand United and teleport down for Expect. These guys decide to do something cross-map. I think with all the Summoners down on the side of Samsung, they may hold off for here. Cube must be using these to save himself in that top lane.
It's a good lane swap from G2 though to be a step ahead of Samsung because Ruler is just recalling now and G2 are already at the tower.
Yeah, Ruler was in this awkward spot where he's trying to get the completion gold for his Rage Blade and wasn't willing to be out on the map. The Essence Reaver Power Spike, so important for also facilitating this lane swap. So even if they want a match, they're not going to have the same combat power. And now Samsung in a almost permanently defensive position until they can find a recall timing to finish that Rage Blade on Ruler.
Feels bad, man. Leaving that base again without actually getting your item.
Rage Blade is a really painful completion. And when you die like that, then get lane swapped on, it just makes it even worse.
Pretty much getting dictated on, and they have to follow. Lane's going to be pushed in hard here. Mithy and the rest of the team have forward wards that might see Ambition if he does not stay in that lane. He is going to go to the jungle, so they know they can be careful not to go aggressive. Nice forward plays here from G2 to set things up in the early game.
We saw the first Shen ulti not really be too effective for G2. The next one will be harder to use because TP is ready for QV. He's not going to use it back to lane anymore. He's just going to hold it for that potential fight now on the top side of the map. If you manage to win that fight where the dual lanes are, you're most likely getting a Rift Herald as well as a reward, and that's suddenly a tower going down in your favor. So when you have these two teams with Ardent Sensor trying to both go to late game, very small things can really impact early on who actually gets the advantage with the gold.
Yeah, and a really early Daisy used by Trick, but this can actually be used as a way to push the turret really effectively. He's got an Ardent Sensor for perks to help his attack speed, and then Daisy ends up tanking the turret to keep it alive. So Crown going to be able to clear it, but how much can they actually get done? It's these small things that the teams are trying to get in this slow game.
Still quite a ways for that minion wave to get up, as now Ruler and the rest, Core JJ and the rest of the team trying to make a move towards the mid lane, allow Ruler to farm up with that Rage Blade now. And Perks standing very tall right front, knows the team is behind him, and G2 feels like they have more control of the map to take these little back and forths.
The game definitely getting more tense now as we're starting to see the items being completed and more playmaking tools and a lot more damage being on the table, but this type of pace actually isn't that surprising. Samsung, the slowest team in their region and the slowest team at Worlds combined kills per minute wise in the summer split, and then G2 extremely slow as well. You can see 12th slowest in combined kills per minute from the summer split for teams at Worlds and 8th in their own region. So when we talk about these teams kind of being a mirror matchup to each other, this is what we're talking about as well as other things.
Yeah, it's two teams who do not like to go for the high-risk, high-reward plays. Instead, we try and make it, you know, a low-risk play. And sure, you might not get the huge reward where you're getting an early ace or like many towers going down early, but you're often just getting small advantages, small victories that will eventually snowball into that big win around a Baron or around a late-game team fight. Obviously, for G2 and Samsung, both comps have a lot of scaling on their side. Like Corki scales like a monster, there's Ardent Sensor from the Iron as well, and both teams are okay saying, sure, let's just go towards the late game and test who is truly the best team fighting team.
And I feel like Cube is feeling that even more. We don't have that Tristana in this game to destroy him if he goes to 30-some minutes as that Cho'Gath. Already the Righteous Glory could be that engage that the team looks for. Right now, Rift Herald and possibly a Dragon, but the Cloud Drake may just stay waving in the wind for a while here. Might get a little aggression from that top side.
There we go.
I was wondering, it's kind of like Mithy's calling to the team, do we want this? Should we engage? Perk says yes. Right over the wall, Cosmic Radiance goes out, uses that another Valkyrie to get himself to safety, and Stand United comes in. The 2v2 on the backside with Daisy coming in, 3 to the crowd. And what damage from Perks! Looking at the left side now, his Ambition about to go down. Featherstorm comes out as they try to lock him down. Great fights by Core JJ and Crown on the right side. As we look back behind Baron Pit, they're able to turn the fight as the double kill from Expect comes through after the flash. And now they're trying to sort this one out to keep themselves alive, but also find that last sliver of health that could be keeping Expect alive, and he goes down. 2 more kills for Samsung Galaxy.
What chaos in that fight after 18 minutes of trying to find small advantages. Everyone finally uses those globals to fight around the Rift Herald. It's a split fight, top and bottom, but in the end of it, 4 people fall on G2, and Samsung trying to push mid.
Yeah, it was a good start with the Corki jumping into that backline, but Core JJ read the situation and instantly popped the Taric ulti. Bought so much time before G2 could actually kill Ruler in the fight and allowing the rest of Samsung to...
Let's see it one more time.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see it again here. after they force the flash from Tarek, the package is available from Perk's side. He should call for Shen ulti already, but Shen of course has to respect that he can't be stopped by a Cho'Gath. So he actually ends up jumping out of the fight, but now the ulti's down here, buying time for Samsung's backline, and then look at Ambition to the left, waiting for QA to join. And by the time this Cho'Gath joins, well, a lot of damage has already been dealt by the Gragas, and now kills coming to Samsung.
Yeah, small fight on the back end as well, and when Crown is untouched, it allows him to chase, because at this point, it looked like a one fight for G2, but because of how healthy Cuvée and Crown were by the end of it, thanks to how much G2 burned at the very start of that fight into the Taric ultimate, since they couldn't escape the fight, it ends up being 4 for 3.
They said Rift Herald is going to disappear very, very soon, but they just kill it in time. Samsung got the bot lane tower, though.
Ooh, wow.
Getting a lot of gold.
They're going for more, too.
Low.
They got Ardent Sensor pushing down there, as well as the Rage Blades. Tough one for Expect to Defend.
They're going for the... Okay, I was going to say. Taunt out. Core JJ is able to tank it up. They got the minion wave there that's going to be bot. Rift Herald's going to be thrown mid. They can try to get the damage in.
And suddenly...
Could be 2 turrets for G2 right here. There's a low turret top lane as well.
And suddenly the game is supposed to speeding up. Like after that fight at the Rift Herald, we're getting bot lane tower down, mid lane tower down. This tower from G2 in the mid lane is so low. That's like 2 or 3 hits from Samsung, and that's gone as well. And then you have a wide open map where we're gonna get a lot of fights to control mid lane to get Baron vision, and we're gonna get team fights. So many team fights in this game here.
You better not be lying to me, Mark.
Oh, trust me, we're gonna get
at least one more team fight, Riv.
Okay,
I will promise you 2 more.
Whew.
I got a one up.
All right.
No.
I'm getting a little... Okay. 5-4 here, 20 minutes in, and it is the top turret and the mid turret we're looking at. Mid turret for G2, top turret for Samsung Galaxy, and that may be what's going down. They don't feel comfortable enough, not enough wards forward to get that to happen, but G2 being able to protect this mid one is big. If that opens up for the map, Samsung Galaxy is going to be all over their jungle.
Yeah, because Samsung were playing on the bottom side just before when they killed that bot lane tower, G2 actually had no wards on this side, so they didn't see them walk to this Cloud Drake, and that's why they stepped away top lane, not knowing, okay, are like multiple members from Samsung gonna show up here and kill us? And that actually means this tower is still sitting there, and the gold is not in G2's pocket by the time Sven went back to base. Small things, but again, the vision control always important, and when teams are splitting the map, oftentimes, if you have a Drake down there, you're gonna get an extra reward.
Yeah, and I think, especially in a world with Taric, the Baron is such a threat to go down, because the way Taric with Ardent Sensor works is he can heal you with his Q, auto attack twice to get the charges back and the cooldown, and heal you again. So it is permanent Ardent Sensor for him and whoever he's Bastion with. So it's an incredibly healthy Baron. They actually don't take damage within that pit. And they have Cho'Gath to secure. So G2's got to be very careful to not get anyone chunked out, not take any bad recalls. Otherwise, that Baron's gone.
He's also the kind of champion who is okay with having his team sitting around him in a little Baron pit and getting engaged on, because that's where his ulti shines. He can see G2 walk towards them, pop that ulti early, and then be ready to fight right after.
Oh, Samsung has been able to clean up. That Cloud Drake is there as the mid turret goes down and top in favor of Samsung Galaxy before they lost their top turret that is on its last leg. Here now Cuvée is going to guard the bottom side and push Expect back off. Mormais and the Righteous Glory almost unkillable at this point.
And we have seen already in this game, just Samsung playing the slow game slightly better than G2 Esports. Yes, this top lane tower will die soon and give some gold back, but it's still in favor of Samsung. And coming down to that big fight around the Rift Herald, and the fact that Rule and Core JJ, despite being against a tough setup, barely actually were under pressure in the bot lane. They were able to just kind of farm evenly, even slightly ahead now, and Samsung were happy with that early game.
Yeah, and when we're thinking about the way these teams match up against each other, both liking to play slow, try and get to the team fight phase, we were kind of expecting, you know, Samsung does that a little bit better. Yeah. So in order for G2 to win, don't just play exactly the same game, switch it up a bit, which is what we thought they might be able to do with Shen and Corki with package and double TP to pull things around the bot lane with their engage Alistar. But you're sitting at a 2-assist Alistar and a 2-kill Sven at this stage in the game. It doesn't feel like they've necessarily done enough of that early stuff before we're in this team fight phase. Still yet to be decided. You can still out team fight them, but it is definitely advantage Samsung right now.
Yeah, obviously one thing the Shen will bring is the ability to block some of these autos from an AD carry with Rage Blade, who's basically built around just landing auto attack as fast as possible. But that's a few seconds where you remove some damage from Ruler. After that, the Cho'Gath definitely takes over in teamfight value. Yeah. Because not only is he hard to kill, he can actually also kill you.
I'm half health, it's okay. No, it's not.
It's never okay.
It's never okay. A lot of love over this blue buff as it's been spawning and just ward control in general. We said Baron's going to be incredibly scary for these teams to hit up, but they're still going to pressure each other into this situation to see who makes a mistake around this area. Mid lane getting a little bit of minion love now coming in, but it looks like it gets cleared out immediately by Sven and the rest of the team there.
He had to run a lot. Ambition caught.
Very, very caught. Cosmic Radiance goes down. Looks like the whole team's going to be able to walk out of this. A nice hit onto Ruler from Daisy. Might keep him in range, but Cuvée getting in there with the rest of the team, but Crown comes through. Throw another rock, he says, and comes up with the kill onto Trick. Now a silence. Perks in the mid lane, almost getting chomped down, but that's already been used by Cuvée. Another kill onto Expect, and that goes into the hands of Ruler as they have finally found G2 wandering around in the jungle.
Yeah, and that's Baron. I was going to say to track the cooldown of Farsight totems because Samsung was starting to choke vision around Baron, but they actually face check while having both Farsight totems up, and that gives them a very bad initiation. And here's the Baron we talked about. They're healing on the pit, thanks to Core JJ.
And this G2 lineup that's trying to play these team fights where they one-eye perks and Sven just deal a lot of damage with auto attacks, and then they can, you know, have these long fights where they can stay alive. It gets kind of ruined by the fact that Crown is able to deal serious damage, and then Cuvée is able to finish off people. Normally when you're stepping out of a fight as like an Ivern or a Shen, you can kind of regain some HP and you won't actually die and the fight won't end. But when this Cho'Gath joins, he just feasts the first guy in front of him and kills him, and then the Ivern is already gone. Like, look at this fight here. It actually is fine on both sides. Early Terror comes down, and now with Trick being caught by both Cho'Gath and Taliyah, well, he's gone in a second, and you can no longer kite.
Yeah, Varus ultimate, very key right there as well. Cuvée so tanky on the outside, and Ruler has that passive attack speed from picking up a kill, can just start shredding through people. A very accurate ruptures from Cuvée as well coming into this choke point filled team fight, and the 2 kills is all they need to get that Baron. Cho'Gath dominated fight.
I mean, take away his true damage, still crushing through people. AD carries Sven, trying to do what he can from that back line. Not too many survival items for him just yet, if any. Really just the damage and his ultimate that he's trying to use. They're going to watch their mid turret go down and bottom. That's the thing. Samsung Galaxy has been able to do a 1-2 turret punch more than once. Their influx of gold has been pretty crazy this game.
And it just feels so in control. Even in the early game when they are under pressure, it never feels like they're actually like struggling to stay in the game. They punish some of the decisions by G2. They win the team fights, which is the most important thing for Samsung in this game.
Trying to make something happen.
Throws down that Iron Will. Will he be able to stay alive throughout all the damage? No. Cuvée says dinner time as they start going on the turrets. The silence, the ruptures. G2 can hardly even move inside their own bases. Samsung Galaxy plows through the front door. Looks to get another kill on Sven. A double kill for Crown as he says King Me coming through the base as well. And they're going to start on the Nexus turrets.
Beautiful flash seismic shove at the tail end of that fight to put the icing on the cake. Carries are gone. Samsung has Baron. This is game, Riv.
27.5 minutes in, Samsung Galaxy will lock down their first win as they start group stages.
And we learned a few things in this game here.